This game recap is brought to you by Manscaped's Foot Duster Foot Deodorant. Say goodbye to stinky foot funk with this essential deodorant spray. Head over to manscaped.com and use the promo code SACCITY for 20% off and free worldwide shipping. The Foot Duster Foot Deodorant by Manscaped. The best protection any place below the waist.
Los Angeles Rams defeating the Atlanta Falcons 31-27. The Falcons have now started 0-2 for the third straight season for the first time in franchise history. What?
Hold on. I'm hearing something in my ear. Is that yours or mine?
I don't hear anything.
I'm hearing that now. What is that?
I don't know what you're hearing. I don't hear anything.
Oh my God. I don't even know what this is.
If I mute myself, does it change?
Mute yourself real quick. No, it's me. Oh, there it is. Never mind. I found it.
Was it ESPN playing in the background?
No, it was some YouTube video in the background. I didn't.
Oh, some jabroni in the YouTube pages there.
No, it was the Falcons block punt. I don't know why I had it up.
Oh well, but that's fitting. That's the game.
That's exactly what was weird. That's the game that we came up. So I thought maybe you had something up.
All right. Well,
yeah. The
Atlanta Falcons defeated, the Los Angeles Rams defeated the Atlanta Falcons 31-27. The Falcons start their season 0-2 for the third straight year. That's the first time that they have done that in franchise history. But they almost won this game. The Rams actually led at one point 28-3. Sorry, Falcons fans, to bring up that score. But the Falcons were able to come back and almost win this game. They were very, very close to winning this game. A turnover from Marcus Mariota in the end zone with a Jalen Ramsey interception sealed the deal for the Rams. This game, let's start with the Rams. Let's start with the Rams here. Almost blowing a 28-3 lead against the Falcons to only win this game 31-27. Is this every team in the NFL is good and you're going to have these type of games, or are you a little worried about what the Rams have going on right now?
No, I told you I was worried a little bit. I had some concerns after week one, and not because they got blown out by the Bills, but some of the things that I saw, and they kind of reared their ugly heads again. I'm not sold on their running game. Cam Akers. Again, this is the problem with the Rams, that they're so relying on Cooper Kupp. And I get it. He's been balling out. He continues to do what he's doing. But is it sustainable to win a Super Bowl? And I think that's the problem. We didn't see that last year. Although he had a great year, if you look at their key plays and throughout points of time in their season, there was an Odell. There was a Van Jefferson. There was a running game, Sony Michel. There was a Tyler Higbee. There's always been something else that stepped up. And right now, I don't see it. Right now, I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's been tough to stop Cooper Kupp. But if you contain Cooper Kupp, this Rams offense is not very good. Not just their they have to go somewhere else, but they're not very good. And we saw that at times in the Super Bowl with the Cincinnati Bengals. And then we see it at times through these regular season games. And then the Rams say, you know what? We're just going to force feed Cooper Kupp. Here's another 11 or 14 targets for Cooper Kupp. I don't think that's sustainable to go back to back. I think the better teams in this league will find ways and say, you know what? Matthew Stafford, go beat us. And he continues to turn the ball over. I mean, what's that? 5 interceptions now through 2 games? He led the league last year. Those turnovers are going to come back to haunt you against good football teams. And maybe it didn't against the Falcons. But the offensive line play, in the running game and both protecting Matt Stafford, and then just how their offense is solely predicated on a wide receiver, I think is an issue. And again, they won the game. Good for them. But to get up 28-3 against a bad football team like Atlanta and let them come back, it's not good.
Yeah, no, I am concerned. I'm going to say this, and Rams fans, you can be mad at me and say whatever you want. This may be the first time I piss off Rams fans. I'm not impressed by Jalen Ramsey anymore this season. I have not been impressed with Jalen Ramsey. The last season, towards the end of last season, and now starting off this year, Like he had that interception at the end of the game, and they posted this social media video about Jalen being being confident. He's a confident guy. I don't hate that about him, but he's like going on about I'm that guy after he intercepted Marcus Mariota in the end zone after allowing Drake London to go off like he did in that game. Not sure how much shadowing he did of Drake London, but
he doesn't shadow anymore. That's the problem.
Okay, so
I was gonna let you finish.
It's not not just me thinking that Jalen Ramsey isn't as impressive as he used to be.
Well, it's not. It's Jalen Ramsey's the best corner in football still. But when we talk about the best corners in football, we normally talk about guys that go and cover a man and say, go lock him up. And that's what Jalen Ramsey has played his entire career doing until the past couple of seasons. And now because they're putting him in different spots in the slot, they're moving him to outside, they're putting him at safety at times. His responsibilities are different than what they used to be. So he's not required to say, there's one guy, make sure he doesn't catch a pass. So the defense has changed in the way he plays. So he's being more aggressive to try to create turnovers. I'm not trying to be very careful on how I say this. They're using him more like the Cowboys want to use Trayvon Diggs and go get us the ball. And if you give up some big plays, hey, you're going to give up some big plays. So the style of defense he's in is not the same as the man-to-man cover corner that he's always been in. And I think that's when you start to see guys get beat, right? Guys that get Marcus Peters was known for this. Marcus Peters was never like some elite lockdown corner, but he was always good for getting picks and creating turnovers. And defenses I think coaches have shifted a lot to what they want from a defense because the quarterback play is so good in the NFL. They say, you know what? We could lock down one side of the field, but the quarterbacks are so good, they'll pick apart the rest of the field. And my guy will just be sitting over there locking one guy up, and that's great, but we still lose the game. So they said, let's stop doing that. Let's scheme to get this guy in the middle of the field, away from where the quarterback's not just looking at one guy anymore. And I can say, oh, now go create me a turnover. So Jalen Ramsey's over the top in that situation there and was able to create that turnover to end the game. Yeah, he may have given up catches all game long because of where he was playing. So the scheme is different. Jalen Ramsey's not really different. The scheme is different. How they're using him is different. And it's created a lot more opportunities for teams to go at him in certain situations. So yes, you're not wrong in saying he's not as impressive in that lockdown man-to-man corner because he's not asked to do that anymore. And I think that's the difference. When he's asked to do that, he's been very, very successful in his career at doing it, the best that we've seen over the past 6 seasons. And he's not asked to do that anymore, really since last year, since they moved him into all these different roles because they want turnovers. That's what they want. Defenses want to create turnovers for extra possessions for their offense so their quarterback can get the ball and take it away from the other great quarterback. So you've seen this a lot with a lot of different guys. Xavier Howard does it a lot where he's not just locking up one man. You're starting to see it more and more from teams that have really talented defensive backs so that they can create turnovers.
Okay, so maybe I should be pumping the brakes a little bit on my Jalen Ramsey criticisms here, because like you said, he is still the best cornerback in the NFL. I think it used to be, to me, it was Jalen and then everyone else, and I think the gap is getting closer and closer now. There's
definitely great corner. I mean, there's definitely some great corners out there.
And honestly, I used to be the one who had not the hot take, but I used to be the one that would say, I think it is Jalen Ramsey and then everyone else. Like the past few years, I would say it's Jalen and then everyone else. Like I don't think anyone is on his level. But now I do think that there's people starting to creep up on that. But on the Falcons side of things, I am going to award my player of the game. This is my first player of the game awarded to a losing effort here. It is to Drake London, the rookie wide receiver out of USC, drafted in the first round, highly invested in by the Atlanta Falcons. He had 12 targets in this game, 8 receptions for 86 yards, and a touchdown. He is obviously the wide receiver 1 on this team, and he is the most productive player on this offense, maybe next to Cordero Patterson. Drake London has been good and everything that they've hoped he could be through 2 weeks, especially through this game with the Rams. And a game that we thought would be the Rams bouncing back after a loss against the Bills, where they would just absolutely dominate from start to finish. Drake London was a part of the Falcons being able to keep this game closer than it should have been. What were your overall thoughts on the Falcons before we move on?
Yeah, they didn't run the ball as effectively as I thought they would. They didn't get Cordero Patterson involved as much as I thought they would. I get it. They're trying to save him, but you're at a bad football team. You don't get to save your players. Like, you don't get to just rest Cordero, give 10 to Algier. No, like, Cordero Patterson's your best player. Give him the ball. They still don't know how to find ways to get Kyle Pitts the ball. That's alarming. And I know Arthur Smith came out and said, this ain't fantasy football. We're not worried about his numbers. We're trying to win games. Well, newsflash, you're not winning games. So why not try to get your best players to football? Kyle Pitts is a part of that. I think that's an issue that they need to look at, because 3 targets, that's not enough. It's not enough. If Kyle Pitts was Travis Kelce getting 3 targets, or Devontae Adams, which we're going to talk about later, not getting targets, we're going to question what you're doing offensively to get those guys the ball. When on other teams, you're seeing them force feed their players the ball. So he has to be more involved. Defense is still not very good in Atlanta. They're still a bad football team. I like that they're fighting, though. I didn't know that they would have this much fight in them. I thought they would get blown out a little bit more, especially early in the season. So I like that they're fighting. Maybe they're good for more than 2 wins, but they're going to always find ways to lose football games because they're a bad football team. So pretty much what I expect from Atlanta. Outside of, again, I do appreciate the fact that they came all the way back and were fighting in that game and never gave up. That is something to be said about that being a young team. So, but pretty much status quo with the Falcons. They're not very good. They're not going to win many games.
Okay, fair enough.